are these people?
Yeah, we're going to talk a little. Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit about Mahmoud Khalil and what's happening there, as well as what's happening with all of the people that are now being rounded up and deported. So Arturo Dominguez, who we talked about last week, we might have even read. I know I read one of his pieces a couple weeks ago. Decolonized journalism, good independent journalist, writes for Unicorn Riot independently as well for himself here at Decolonized Journalism. He says manufacturing consent to deport green card holders or permanent residents. Recent comments by administration officials suggest that green card holders are at greater risk of deportation than ever. And thank you, Jonathan H, for the Cash App. $20. Thank you. Woohoo!
Appreciate it.
Recent comments from VP J.D. Vance. Let me blow this up a little bit more. Deputy Chief of Staff for Policy and Homeland Security Advisor Stephen fucking Miller. I will see you in the aftermath. Secretary of State Little Marco Rubio and President Donald Donnie Tiny Hands Zio Cuck Trump about the arrest of Columbia University and graduate student Mahmoud Khalil indicate that green card holders, I can't say that quickly, are at risk of deportation.
Do you speak it? English, motherfucker, do you speak it?
Barely. For simply exercising their right to their English, motherfucker, do they speak it? The administration's doubling down exposes the dubious reasons for targeting permanent residents. While Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary for Public Affairs Tricia McLaughlin alleges that Khalil led activities aligned to Hamas, which he didn't, many have asked about evidence to bolster this claim, but have received no tangible response. Shocker. When I asked the Department of State, a spokesman passed the buck saying for questions on removals, we refer you to the Department of Homeland Security, Immigration, and Customs Enforcement. How convenient. On Friday, J.D. Vance made an appearance on Fox News saying that green card holders don't have an indefinite right to be in the United States, despite being permanent residents. He reiterated a common talking point heard recently from several in the administration to justify targeting people like Khalil. Vance continued saying it's not about free speech. It's about who we as American citizens decide gets to join our national community. Garbage. I'm not playing it because I'm not.
It's the eyeliner.
It's Guyliner. That's right. Guyliner. That's right. He's got. I guarantee you, he's wearing lipstick too.
Yeah.
The administration claims that Khalil promoted anti-Semitic and pro-Hamas ideas. However, that does not appear to be true. But by ADL's definition, anything that supports Palestinians is technically pro-Hamas and anti-Semitic. So that's where they're making this claim from. And as long as they're in charge, they feel like they don't need to substantiate anything because who's going to stop them?
Yep. Correct.
Meanwhile, many in the administration have echoed anti-Semitic talking points and uphold the racist Great Replacement conspiracy theory, which is built on xenophobic and anti-Semitic ideas. Kind of funny how they project exactly what they say. Many in the administration hold similar... I
wouldn't say the Great Reset actually is that, though. But
No, not Great Reset. This is Great Replacement.
Oh. Yeah.
They're replacing white people with brown babies. Replacement theory.
They took our germs.
Kind of. All right. Many in the administration hold similar beliefs, such as the DOD's Deputy Press Secretary Kingsley Wilson, who once said, quote,
Wilson.
The Great Replacement isn't a right-wing conspiracy theory. It's reality. Vance is echoing a position heard recently throughout the administration, and Republicans in Congress are likely to start parroting it soon enough. Rubio recently posted on Twitter that the State Department will be revoking the visas and or green cards of Hamas supporters, but no one in the administration will clarify what it believes is and isn't anti-Semitism. Well, they certainly want to define that, but they can't say it out loud yet because it's not officially law. They want to pass the Stop Anti-Semitism Hate Act, which then basically makes criticizing Israel anti-Semitism. Arturo, by the way, also about this, the Marco Rubio thing, if you want to watch that, you can watch my segment on the homeless left from Tuesday. You can go watch it on THL on YouTube or on his Rumble account on the homeless left or on IndieMediaToday.com. I'll show you what that looks like at the end. But I sat down with him and he actually played that for me to get my reaction to what that was, you know, in respect to Mahmoud Khalil. Instead, Trump's White House has made the inherent Islamophobia behind their false claims of anti-Semitism more evident than ever. And it's not just Islamophobia, it's also Venezuelaphobia, I'll make up. Trump also got in on the messaging campaign on Truth Social saying, quote, "This is the first arrest of many to come," signaling to green card holders that his anti-immigrant crusade includes them too. "We will find, apprehend, and deport these terrorist sympathizers from our country." He continued conflating protest with terrorism as if this was Cuba or Venezuela. Okay. Trump then said, "If you support terrorism, including the slaughtering of innocent men, women, and children, your presence is contrary to our national and foreign policy interests, and you are not welcome here." To further highlight the Islamophobia and anti-Arab sentiments behind it all, he said, This as if we can't see that the Trump administration sent $12 billion to Israel to continue the slaughter of Palestinian men, women, and children." Of course, Stephen fucking Miller got in on the action. He too conflated right to free speech with terrorism in a post on Twitter, saying, quote, "No one has the right to a visa or a green card. If you support terrorism, we don't want you here." He's saying things like, "Vast numbers of foreign nationals who support terrorism and reject American values have been awarded visas. Revoking them is a national..."
Terrorism. Terror organization, terrorist attacks. Terrorism, terrorist network, terrorist attacks, terrorist group, terrorists.
Revoking
I feel
them
like you
is
have to play the whole thing every time.
National security imperative. We must admit only those that embrace the core principles of our civilization. Highlights just how far the administration will go and how it tends to use the State Department to perceive power to silence dissent. Remember, folks, U.S. aid was rolled back into, the State Department. Right. Is this douchebag now running U.S. aid effectively? I think so.
Yep.
A separate example lies in a recent press release from the DHS about another Columbia University student who self-deported to Canada because they didn't want to get fucked with here. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem took the opportunity to add fuel to the anti-immigrant fire, going so far to claim they had the footage of her using the CBP Home app to self-deport, but the video only offered the video offered only showed someone in what appeared to be an airport. Like literally. That's her self-deportation? Yeah, she couldn't get the fuck out of here fast enough. The video isn't evidence of anything except someone at an airport. However, simply insinuating that she used the app is enough to rile up those who support these policies. Otherwise, to everyone else, it's yet another lie among so many, like the false equivalency of protesting against genocide and supporting terrorism.
People just say stupid shit.
All right. Ranjani Srinivasan, who is a citizen and national of India, entered the United States on an F1 student visa as a doctoral student in urban planning at Columbia University. Srinivasan was involved in activities supporting Hamas, a terrorist organization, according to the State Department. On March 5th, the Department of State revoked her visa. The DHS has obtained video footage of her using the CBP Home app to self-deport on March 11th. That's the person in Canada.
Right.
The statement also included information about the arrest of a third student from Colombia, Leka Cordia, a Palestinian from the West Bank. We did talk about this. Equating protesters with terrorism isn't a new phenomenon. We've seen it throughout history. More recently, Black Lives Matter protesters were equated with domestic terrorism and supporters of Hamas during the civil rights protests of 2020. We're seeing it now being employed against people who speak out against genocide. All right. The DHS press release ended with a quote attributable to Kristi Noem. In it, she emphasizes they're linking protesters to terrorism despite it being fraudulent. Where the idea to include the CBP Home app in all this came from is beyond me, but I can only attribute it to the administration attempting to make it seem as though their policies are working, especially considering it's struggling to meet the demands it set for itself. Okay. Noam says, I'm glad to see one of the Columbia terrorist sympathizers use the Home app to self-deport. No, they're running the fuck away because they don't want to be arrested and rounded up and thrown in an ICE jail for weeks like Mahmoud Khalil has been.
Yeah.
The use of phrases that suggest immigrants don't have a right to equal protection under the law and using words like privilege to minimize visa and green card holders' rights is all part of an effort to target non-white immigrants. And white immigrants, for that matter. It's becoming clear that the precedent they're setting could inevitably lead to federal agencies using seemingly benign posts on social media to target people, whether it be speaking out against police brutality or genocide. And they're going to use the AI to do it, too. We've already covered that. That they're going to start using AI to
privatize it,
to
have AI do it.
Scrape social media and report out potential offenders to DHS and have them deported. Yeah. Arturo concludes the ultimate goal of messaging like this is to manufacture consent to do it. The more they repeat the lie, the more they think people will justify it. They do it because it works. This strategy only requires people's opinions to shift subtly, leaving them where they'll agree that something needs to be done, but not too harshly. We saw this with the mass deportation hysteria, and we'll continue to see it if they keep succeeding. And he again says that he contacted DHS for clarification about Srinivasan's use of the CBP Home app, but of course received no response.
Mm-hmm.
And we're definitely not getting remonetized for stuff like that. So if you are able to, out of means, please, I hate begging and I hate doing this.
Money, please.
That one. We could use some help. Cash App, Ko-fi, PayPal, even Substack if you must. But please try to do one of the other three if you can. The reason being that they don't take very many fees. We end up with the most possible money. If you super chat on my channel, you are able to. YouTube takes 30%. If you Rumble rant, they take 50%. Now, you could Rumble subscribe to the channel, the little red button that says subscribe with the little red gift. They give us all of that. So that's cool. You can do that. But again, Cash App, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. And that worked. Use it this week. And thank you so much to Sean. And thank you so much to Kameshwari Kate. And thank you so much to Charlie Mack Friday night, and to Colin Care Bear and everybody else that contributes. It's incredible. Thank you. It really helps, and it really helps, keeps us going. If you're able to, Cash App, $Indie News Network, ko-fi.com/Indie News Network, paypal.me/Indie News Network. That's with an IE. Support independent media. We need it more than ever. I love you all, and I'll see you next week. Thank you, everyone.
All people are afraid. No one knows what they're doing. Everything is getting worse. Some people deserve to die. Your money is worthless. No one is properly dressed. At least one of your children will disappoint you. The system is rigged. Your house will never be completely clean. All teachers are incompetent. There are people who really dislike you. Nothing is as good as it seems. Things don't last. No one is paying attention. The country is dying. God doesn't care. Shh.
Good night, everyone.
Ciao, baby.
No! We just fucking lost the stream!
You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your heads. Why play civil if you won't listen? 50,000 died, and now we know our mission. We form a militia, make Congress a prison.